Tina with You Made That. Today I have Jackie back with us.
Hi.
Jackie is a cross-stitch pattern designer, and her company is Waxing Moon Designs, and she's back. We talked about 6 months ago, Jackie, and I can put the link to that interview. And you said back then that I was your first YouTube interview.
Yes. Actually, I haven't done any more YouTube interviews, although I did do like an audio interview for a podcast since then. So that was a first too.
Yeah. Yay. You Made That has the exclusive Jacquelyn Fox from Waxing Moon interview. So
Yay.
Yay. Well, we're going to talk about what you've been doing in the past 6 months.
Well, let's see. It's getting close to Halloween. So I thought that I would talk a little bit about the fall designs and my Halloween designs that I have out this year. And maybe even a little sneak peek of the next set, which is a little Christmas theme gnome set that I'm working on right now. And I hope to have it out probably the end of this month or the beginning of November.
Oh, nice. And we love a sneak peek.
Yes.
When you
I've only got a couple stitched.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. When you had the 4th of July gnomes, I did the one holding the firecracker. And I mean, the gnome stitches, your stitches are fun stitches. They go quick. They're not frustrating. I highly recommend. So I look forward to all your.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that I really try to be mindful of is making sure that my designs are not full of frustrating popcorn stitches or confetti stitches, I guess they'd call them, and a ton of back stitching. Although I do use back stitching when it's needed, and sometimes it is. But yeah, I try to make my designs fun to stitch. They're supposed to be relaxing, not frustrating.
I think you do succeed at that so much. So 10 out of 10. All right. Well, let's look at, made some slides. Here we go. Autumn Barn Trio.
Yes, that is my latest trio set. I had done a patriotic barn trio, oh gosh, a couple of years ago. It was kind of a standalone. I wasn't sure if the whole barn thing would catch on and be popular. But in the last couple of years, I have had people asking, when are you going to do another barn trio? So I decided to go ahead this year and do the autumn barn trio. And because I did the autumn, I'm sure I'm going to have to do the other seasonal trios with the barns too. They're popular. So I'm going to keep going with them for a little bit.
Nice.
And I do have some of those close up if anybody wants to take a close up peek. This is the one that says autumn on it.
It's bigger than I thought, but it's not a little.
Yeah.
See, I gotta think it's
I'm
not
trying
a
to
little.
get it. There we go. Yeah, it's about, oh gosh, about 4 by 6.
Okay.
And I've got them finished just very simply with a just on illustration board. And when you have them finished like this, you can put them up against another background. You can frame them. You can put them on little easels just to stand alone. I don't do a whole lot of framing in wooden frames as much as I used to, because these are just so much more versatile, in the decor. So
framing can be expensive. So did you finish those yourself then?
I did, yes. And I sort of finished them pretty quickly. They just need to look good for me. They just need to look good in the photo. And then oftentimes I just take them to the local shop here in town, which is the Stitchery Nook. She goes ahead and puts them on display in whatever way that she wants. Sometimes she mounts them like on some kind of a chicken wire frame. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a window frame with chicken wire in it. And she'll put them in there, or she mounts them on old barn board, or I just let her go ahead and get creative with them.
Nice. I visited the Stitchery Nook in Osage, Iowa, and I'll put a link to that video. Super fun. So, yeah, you're talking about
Oh yeah.
Liz over there at the
Yes.
Stitchery Nook.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Liz does a great job. She's got so many models to look at, and so much stash
Well,
to drool over. Yeah.
it helps to sell them because you think, oh, I
Yeah.
don't know about that. But then when you see it done, it's like, oh, I need that. I have to stitch that. I want it to look just like that. So,
Right, right. And if you can see them finished, it's you get that an idea for finishing too. So it's
right.
great. Yeah.
All right. We have some of that chicken wire. Here we go. Look at this. So
Yeah.
Liz
Yes.
did this one then.
Yes, she did. Uh-huh. I took of course I stitch most of my own models. So I stitched them and then I just dropped them off to her and let her be creative and come up with a cute finishing idea. And I think that she did a great job. This one is just a window with chicken wire. And since there were only three and then the four panes of the window, she just added a little autumn bow, which I think it looks really cute. And it's easy and anybody can do it. It's great. Yeah, great idea.
I love how she put them a little askew on that
Yeah.
frame.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. Yep,
Yeah.
it just adds a little bit more I don't know, whimsy to it, I
Mhm.
guess. Yeah. It's really cute.
That is cute. If I would have been doing that and I made it crooked, then okay, I'm gonna put the others crooked because I meant to do that. So
Yeah.
it was on purpose.
Yep.
But
And this actually the name of this pattern is Bittersweet Trio, if anybody's curious about the name of it. Right.
and there it is. Okay, I have them in a close-up. I
Yep,
took them
there
all
they
down.
are.
Now, did you name it bittersweet? Here's my guess.
Mhm.
Because it's fall, it's beautiful. I love fall colors, but we know it's coming and that's winter and snow. Is that why you named it that?
Actually, I named it Bittersweet Trio because if you look in the designs, each one has a bittersweet vine. It's kind of a fall berry on a vine. It's called bittersweet. It's got little bright orange berries on it, and I used that vine, that bittersweet vine, in each one of those designs. So
Okay.
it's one of my favorite fall decorating things is to use like have a bittersweet wreath or kind of a vine of bittersweet, and I wrap it around my stairwell.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
never knew that.
You know,
Oh,
I yes, and I was thinking I never wasn't even thinking that maybe, not everybody's familiar with bittersweet. Maybe that's more of a local thing. I don't know.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
My friend Christina is stitching the squirrel one, and I remember,
Uh-huh.
we were over a Zoom, and she said, "Here's what I'm stitching," and it was a squirrel, and she goes, "It's from Waxing Moon, Bittersweet Trio," and I thought, "Well, I wouldn't have thought that would be the name of it." So that's no.
Kind of like, what is that old song from the '90s by The Verve, Bittersweet Symphony? Yeah.
Right. It's like,
Yeah,
well,
no, it's the bittersweet wasn't really about it wasn't really an adjective, but it was more just, the name of the vine that I used in the patterns.
all right. Well, good to know. This is fun. All right. And next we have
Oh, yeah. This is the set that I did last year. This was my Halloween Littles set. And these are like all of my other littles. They come in a set of 6 and they are small. They're like 3.5 by 3.5. So really easy to stitch up quickly. I have those right here.
Oh, all right.
There. This one is the little witch, and you can see she's got her broom and a couple of pumpkins with her.
And you stitched that and you finished that too, right?
Yes. This is the little skeleton man dancing in the graveyard with his letters and the little owl in the background.
All right.
And this is the
Um,
vampire.
Count Dracula.
Yes. Whoop. And this is the ghost. And this is my favorite, the Cookie Monster. Or no, the Candy Monster, sorry.
I like him too.
Yeah.
How fun.
And then Frankenstein. Whoop, get that out of the way. But I finished these as just like little hanging ornaments, which also it's just mounting them on a couple pieces of illustration board. One piece for the pattern it's or for the stitch piece itself, and then I cover another one in a coordinating fabric
Mm,
and just glue them together. So
I love it. I
yeah,
love it.
it's easy. It's quick and easy.
And then you can display it for decor. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You can also, I mean, you could also finish these as little pillows,
Yeah.
just those little mini pillows, and just have them in a, just have them sitting in a bowl, or you could stitch them all on the same piece of fabric. I've had people ask about that, and I know I've done it for the trios, and I believe I may have a template for that on my website. So you can check there if you're interested in doing that.
I'll put a link to her website in the description below. So
Okay.
cool. Oh, okay. I have a question.
Mhm.
When you stitch them yourself, are you doing it so that you know the pattern is tweaked enough, or do you ever make changes as you're stitching them?
Yes, I do. That's if it's a pattern that I'm looking at and I'm thinking, that looks like it's going to work out. I don't think I'm going to do any changes. Then I feel safe in sending it off to a stitcher. Um, but I've had it happen before where I send it off to a stitcher and they finish it according to my instructions, and I get it back and I'm thinking, I kind of wish I'd used a different color here in, one portion rather than the one that I used. Maybe it didn't pop enough. Maybe there wasn't enough contrast between it and the color that was next to it. And so if there's any question, I just stitch it myself because that way I can see the issues. I can see those problems as I'm stitching, and I can just stop stitching, run back to the computer, make the changes, and then keep stitching. No time lost.
Nice.
So yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Next, we have dun, 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 dun. These are new.
Yeah, these are the brand new Halloween gnome littles. These came out the end of September. And like all the other littles, they're like 3.5 by 3.5. And I did stitch these on a darker fabric, and I know some people aren't real crazy about stitching on dark fabric. I've had people comment that it's a little hard on the eyes, but a trick that I've learned and it is to put maybe a light colored towel or something over your lap when you're stitching, because that makes the holes show up better in the fabric so you can see it. And if it's really frustrating, the best thing that you can ever buy is a magnifying lamp. I have one on a stand and it sits next to the chair that I do most of my stitching in. And I'll tell you what, that is a game changer for me. It just makes everything so much easier to see. And as we get a little older, our eyes aren't the greatest. They gets a little tougher to see those tiny little stitches. So that I would recommend that to anybody if you're having trouble, having some eye strain, working on your cross stitch. look into those lamps. They're great.
Good advice. Okay, well,
Yeah.
that leads me to ask, what kind of fabric
Mhm.
is this and what color?
It's a Weeks Dye Works. I believe it's gunmetal and it's a 30 count linen. So it's kind of a dark gray. It's not completely black. It's more of a charcoal color. I am so used to stitching on linen, and I know there are some people out there, especially beginners, that are a little bit nervous about moving to linen from Aida cloth, right? But I'll tell you, if you do something, I would start with just a very simple little design to begin with, and it really stitching over two threads on linen it just becomes second nature, and I just like the look better. I feel like that linen is a little bit easier to work with when you're finishing than Aida cloth is. It's Aida cloth is a little thicker, but all of these designs can be stitched on Aida cloth. So if you don't like the linen, don't let that stop you. Just find an Aida cloth in a similar color and go with it. And this is a 30 count linen, which means it would be equivalent to like a 15 count Aida. But if you used a 14 count Aida, that is such a tiny difference that they're going to be almost exactly the same size. So you can swap out a 14 count Aida for this linen and it wouldn't be a problem.
Okay,
Yeah.
quick question. Which one did
Mhm.
you design first?
Um, this
She's
one, the trick or treat.
okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious which one you designed
Yeah.
first.
Yep, that was the one. And then oh gosh, I don't know the whole order of them, but yeah, that little guy was the first one.
So do you have all of them too in
Oh,
person?
yes, I do.
Oh, show us.
Yes.
Okay.
This whoops, got a little thread of my glue gun hanging there. This is the little magician gnome with his magician hat and cape.
Yeah.
Here is a little witch with her familiar, and of course the big full smiling moon up above her shoulder. And this one is one of my favorites too. The little Spider-Man, a spider gnome. I went with a different color with his beard. I went with a gray and a dark gray because, switch it up a little bit. And here is another witch gnome, and this one's flying on her broomstick. And here's another one with a different color beard. This one I called my ghost whisperer gnome.
Oh,
So he and his ghost friends are celebrating. But yeah, I went with a orange beard on this guy. So
yeah. I noticed that. That stood
yeah,
out when we were looking at these ones. I was like, "Oh, but that makes
yeah,
it fun. How fun."
yeah.
Cool. Those will be popular. So those are out now and
Those
new
are
this
out right now. You can find them in like leaflet form in the needlework shops if you like that. If you like digital patterns, I have them available in my Etsy shop as a knee pattern. So
link to that below.
yeah.
I'm a PDF girl. I want it. I want to print it out. I want it colored. That's me. But it's also
Mhm.
good to support those local needlework shops if you have one. So
Right, right. And I know that there are a lot of people that really prefer paper patterns. I mean, that's especially if you've been doing this for many years and you're used to it's like, a paper book. Some people like the Kindle and some people prefer, the paper. And so I do both.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. What do we
Moving
have
on.
here?
Oh, yeah, these are some of the pictures of the models that are up at the Stitchery Nook, and this is my haunted house trio from 2020 is when that came out.
Oh,
And Liz finished that. She just in a frame, but she's got like a fabric, kind of a spooky fabric background, and then she just strung a ribbon at the bottom. I thought that was it's simple, but it's a cute idea.
It is. I've
Yeah.
never seen that before, and I love that. And
Yep.
I like also how she kinda has them askew. So don't worry if you,
Yeah.
"Oh, I can't get this straight." No
Right.
problem.
Right.
I like
I don't know for sure if she uses Velcro to stick those on, but that's what I would do if I were putting them on there. I just put a little tab of Velcro on the background fabric and then put a couple on the stitch pieces, and that way you can you can adjust them. You can make them crooked or you can have them straight.
Right, right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that. So that's up there at the Stitchery Nook in Osage, Iowa. You can go see it and say, "I
right.
saw this on the video."
Yeah, and if you look in the background of that picture, you can see all of the models. That's just a small section of models that are up on the shelf up by the ceiling, but she just has so many more. She's just got an amazing selection of models.
She does, and the shop is inspiring because
Yeah,
seeing all
it
that
is.
is like, yeah. So
Yeah.
very cool. Okay, here's another one.
Yeah, that's my Witch's Brew Pub. And that came out when, let me look, 2019 is when I released that one. But I just wanted to do something kind of fun and easy to stitch. There's only one color in there and it stitches up really quickly. And you can do a lot of fun stuff with it, finish it like Liz did. You could have it as a pillow because they're about the right size for that. Witch's brew. And then I thought, well, brew pubs. Okay, let's do a witch's brew pub design set.
Right. Now, okay, I'm gonna have to show a close-up when I upload this, but are those hats on the drink up, are those
Yes,
buttons?
yes, they're buttons from Just Another Button Company. Most shops carry Just Another Button Company buttons. They do have a website, justanotherbuttoncompany.com, and so you can go there and check out their entire selection of buttons, and they have hundreds of them, and they're darling.
I will put a link to that too, and I love Liz's finish. I mean, it's simple,
Yeah.
it looks good, it gets the job done, I love that.
Yep. Yep. I do too.
Alright, so that is Drink Up Witches, that's from
Yeah.
2019.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're at some sneak peeks.
Yes.
Whoops, whoops, I went too fast here.
Oh,
Before I show that, I wanna
oh
show this one.
yeah. Yeah. Yes. Those happen to be a set of Christmas pattern designs or Christmas ornament designs that I did last year for a finishing class that Liz was doing at the Stitchery Nook. She has stitching retreats there. And this one, she asked if I would design a little set of ornaments, something quick to finish. And so I did that and made it a little leaflet, but I didn't release it through anyone except through the Stitchery Nook last year. The participants in the retreat stitched the pattern or stitched the designs. And then at the retreat, then Liz did a demonstration on how to finish them. And she just did such a pretty job finishing those as ornaments.
Yeah, they look
So I thought
elegant.
and these patterns now, since it's a year later, I decided, you know what, these are too cute. I'm going to go ahead and release them on my Etsy shop. So anybody
Mhm.
that wants to stitch them, they're available on the Etsy shop as a PDF pattern. So
Nice, and do you have some of those with you?
I do. So you can kind of see them close up. This one is the snowflake. And it's very simple, but it's really cute. And Liz just finished it with some cording on the
Hmm,
edge. This one is the ice skate. And you can see it has more detail. There's a little bit more back stitching, a little more detailing in the greenery that's in the skate. But it's very doable still for a beginner. So don't let that scare you off. And then this one actually is my favorite. And because it was kind of inspired by a design by wallpaper that I used to see hanging in my grandparents' house years ago in their dining room. They had some wallpaper that had a pine cone and pine needle design in it like that. And I think it was probably from the 40s. But I thought I kind of want to do something like that as, as a Christmas ornament. So I worked something up that was similar, and it reminds me of their house.
Aw, I
Yeah.
like that one. Can you show us the border that Liz used on that
Oh,
one?
on this one? Whoop.
Yeah.
Yeah, she put little pins. They're like little needles with the pearl heads, and I believe she just stuck those on. And there's some ribbon. Whoops, I'm sorry, it's hard to. There, you can kind of see the edge of it. Yeah,
Never seen that.
it's a really cute way to finish it off. Makes it look very elegant.
Yeah. And also, I want to say your borders, you like the border, you have the same border on a lot of them. And
Mhm.
some patterns, I skip the border. I'm like, forget that border. But on
Sure.
yours, your borders are very fun to stitch, not hard, not tedious, and they just frame it so well. So I
Right.
love stitching your borders. They just go.
Yeah, well, and I always thought too, I people shouldn't be afraid of just leaving off the border if they want, if the way they want to finish it doesn't lend itself well to a border, don't stitch it. I mean, I enjoy seeing how people will take my designs and maybe change colors. They might do something different with it that I never thought of. So I love seeing that creativity amongst the stitchers, and seeing what they do with my designs, because I want people to feel inspired to make changes and be creative. And I mean, that's what this is, an artistic endeavor, and you guys are all artists. Feel
Yay!
free. Take some chances.
And on
Right.
these, I wanted to point out, I believe you used a reddish variegated floss in the border so that it adds the
Mhm.
depth of colors. I
Right. I almost always use variegated flosses in my models, but you don't have to stitch them with the variegated floss. I always put DMC alternative colors. I try to match the colors as closely as I possibly can. I've seen plenty of my designs stitched with DMC, and they look just as nice. So don't feel that you have to use the variegated floss. I love the look of it. It just adds that visual interest without having to switch colors on your needle all the time. Because as you know, that can be frustrating. It is for me if I have to constantly be changing colors in my needle. Yeah. I'd rather stitch a big expanse of one color.
all right. So now the sneak.
Now, dun-dun-dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
Now the sneak peek, and I'll be coming out with the Christmas gnome littles. Hopefully, end of this month, beginning of next month. And I've got just a couple of them, and well, two and a half technically. But this is the first one. This is a
Oh,
little
I love
gnome
him.
who's carrying a lantern, and he's got his little walking staff with a star on the top of it. So he's
He's
cute. He looks
cute.
like a little woodsy gnome. And the second one is like a little girl gnome who is decorating Christmas bough. She's got a string of stars. There's some ornaments laying at her feet. She is one of those designs that I did end up, as I was stitching it, I'm thinking, I think she needs a little bit of back stitching. So I did add some back stitching to her. You don't have to add the back stitching, but I just thought it made her pop out a little bit better. And the one that is still on my scroll
Ooh.
frame is this is what he's going to look like. after he's
Oh,
done. He
uh,
is holding a candy cane and a big peppermint sucker, and he's got a couple little gingerbread cookies near him. So
ew.
that's what I'm working on right now. I was stitching on that right before I came on here.
Can we see your frame again?
Yeah. This is a scroll frame. This is what I like to use when I stitch because it keeps my fabric from getting wrinkled. And I know a lot of people like the hoops, and I'm just thinking ahead because I finish my patterns. I want them as unwrinkled as possible, so I don't have to spend a lot of time ironing them and stuff before I finish them. But and linen can be a little bit challenging to get wrinkles out of.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
That's
so it's
smart.
just
You're
something.
thinking ahead.
Yeah, it's something as a designer because I do this all the time. I'm always coming up trying to minimize extra work.
Nice. Okay,
So if
so
I don't have to iron them, that's great.
well, it's always nice to see a little sneak peek into how you stitch and everything too. So,
Yeah, yeah.
now, so with these Christmas gnome littles, will they be in a pack of 6 or 3?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah, 6. This is like I said, I've only got 3 of them right now, and I'll be starting the 4th one within the next couple of days. And they only take, really, when I sit down to work at these, they only take me a few hours to complete. So I usually design in the morning, and then in the afternoons, I spend time working on my model stitching. And so usually within a couple afternoons, so I'm guessing about 8 hours worth of stitching, probably about 3 or 4 hours twice, and that's all it takes to get these done. So yeah, they're quick to stitch up, which I love. And it gives you that, these little quick designs give you that instant gratification, almost instant, not quite, but almost instant. It's a quick gratification of finishing a project, and I love that feeling. I love the feeling of finishing a project and then starting on something new. It's fun.
Yep, I agree, and that's why I like yours because I don't like the full coverage, and that's just not me. And so I'm like, give me a little, give me littles.
But mine, I just look at my designs as more of like little de- touches for holiday decor and seasonal decor, and they're not usually, most of them aren't heirloom pieces. And so, but they're just meant to be fun. They're meant to give some happiness, some joy to the people that are working them up. And yeah, so that's what I focus on more than the heirloom status.
So the other 3 gnomes you've already designed on paper, right?
I no, I just wing it, and sometimes I will do a stitch, but I've been do a sketch, but I have been doing this now for over 25 years, and I used to sketch everything out, and now I have an idea, I just wing it on the computer, and generally I don't do all of them. I design all of them before I start stitching. I usually will design one, start stitching on it in the afternoon. The next morning, I start working on design number 2 in the morning and stitch on design number 1 in the afternoon. And I've always got a design ready to start stitching.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. This is
Yeah.
fun hearing about your process. I like it. Well, then we're excited to see the other 3 Christmas gnomes, and you'll be
Yes.
excited to see them too.
Yeah. Keep an eye out on my
Yeah.
website. If you subscribe or if you follow my blog, it's a blog technically, but if you follow it, you'll get an email notification anytime I add a new post. And basically, don't feel as though you're going to be inundated with emails because I just post when I have something new, a new design out, or something, a finishing idea to share. And so if you wanted to keep up on what's new, just follow the blog.
All right. I'll put link to that and your Instagram page too.
Yes,
So,
yes, on Instagram as well. I always post when there's something new. And I also am on Facebook. I have a Facebook page too, Waxing Moon Designs. And I post the same thing there. Anytime I put up something new, I post a picture, all the design specs, and a supply list. Yeah. So
all right. Okay. Well, thank you, Jackie. You got some good
yeah.
stuff this fall.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm actually ready to start stitching I'm ready to be doing Christmas stuff now. I
Oh,
probably should have been stitching on these in July, but I just feel more festive when the weather starts getting chilly and
yeah.
and then I'm ready to stay in and stitch more. Stitch more on
Nice.
Christmas stuff.
Well, good. Well, maybe you can come back in 6 months and show us what you've been working on in the spring.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks
good.
for having me.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And thank you, everyone. Put any comments, questions that you have for Jackie. Be sure and follow her with all the links and gobble up her patterns because they are fun stitches. I tell you, they are
Yes.
fun.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.